begin with the front pages of the papers this morning. Starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with tariff hike. TCN discos Baker over failing 20-hour supply. Rider says a band A consumers protest under supply, seek downgrade. Total supply remains insufficient, and that's coming from Consumer Network. Government must sensitize consumers' orders, and that's coming from Power Up Nigeria. Discos to set up response team. Reverse hike to avert further misery suffering, and that's coming from electricity workers. Vows to shut power supply nationwide if colleagues are attacked. And we can see a photo story showing about Akiolu visit to Tinubu. And on page 9, power shift Tinubu's factor PDP in make or mar neck meeting this week. Those with integrity solidly behind me, and that's Kumubara. Kwama allow entrapped residents access to their homeland. Ill Kingdom begs the Tinubu Army Delta government. On page 28, Super Eagles coach pendulum swings against the Finidi. And on page 25, Chibok girls US renews commitment to Nigeria's anti-terrorism effort. 21 released girls came with 34 children, 91 still unaccounted for, and that's report stories above. A breach of contract, Shell sues Venture Global in US courts. Oyo Invasion, attackers dressed in foreign military camouflage, and that's coming from the army. Global condemnation trails Iran's attack on Israel. And lastly, on the front page of Vanguard, we have Edo Guba. APC's rank swells with 9 defectors. Oshomole apologizes to Urogide. And Edo government condemns clash between Labour Party candidates Uniben and SUG. We take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with sticky prices, poor control, upset consumers despite stronger naira. We can see a photo story showing tension in Middle East as conflicts escalate amidst the concern for global markets. APC chief decries alleged funding of party by Tinubu governors. Ekiti PDP berate Ogunbanjo over 110 fresh appointees into bloated cabinet. 21 Chibok girls returned with 34 kids. Report finds over 17 million Nigerians currently food insecure, says firm. Wrong timing, misplaced priorities for new electricity tariff. Concerns over abduction of men for marathon and now sex in Lagos. We take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with recapitalization race. Top banks target $3 billion fund in foreign capital markets. Rider says Access, GT Co, UBA, First Bank, Zenith may issue Eurobonds. Lenders seek shareholders approval for rights issues. Banking stocks sell-off leads 633 billion naira equity market loss. Tier 2 banks M&A likely, and that's coming from Fitch and analysts. Let free Chibok girls reunite with families, community tell government. No 5-star treatment for Bobrisky, and that's coming from NSC officials. Iran, Israel, Nigeria, G7 urge ceasefire. World leaders condemn attack. Yoruba Nation, security beefed up in Southwest government houses. Stories above, we have a Labour ask federal government to unveil new minimum wage May 1. 720 billion naira lost to lower crude production in 2 months, and that's coming from a report. Humanitarian Ministry, EFCC recovers a fresh $445,000, 3 billion naira. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, tariff hike, federal government begs workers as electricity union insist on strike. We take a look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with EFCC will try bank CEOs over COVID funds, World Bank loans. Rider says agency recovers a 32.7 billion naira, $445,000 from Humanitarian Affairs Ministry officials. Inflation records a marginal rise at close of Q1. Why not Central should retain PDP chair slot by Suzwan? As Southwest governors take measures against agitators, tight security in government houses, and Chibok girls 10 years after. Borno raises a rescue hope for 89, 21 returned with 34 children. Let all schools be safe for pupils. A decade of hope, heartache. And that's how we can take on the front pages of the papers this morning. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining still today in the news of Vanguard Live, I am Precious Tripidi. Joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the papers this morning is Mr. Ali Mohammed, CEO of Magnet Communications, also former editor of Daily Times and Concord Newspapers. Good to have you join me this morning, sir.
Precious. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you so much. All right, we begin with tariff hike. We've been talking about this for weeks now, and according to reports, we're hearing that some Band A customers are requesting to be downgraded to Band B because since the discos are unable to meet the 20-hour minimum supply, and they're also asking that they shouldn't be forced to pay the 225 naira per kilowatt hour. What's your take?
Well, it is reasonable that those who are on that band will have to download or downgrade themselves to an affordable band. Because if you look at the cost, it's highly exorbitant. And you don't have this power. That is the sad aspect of it. In my area, they took light at about 10 minutes to 7 yesterday. As at this morning, light is yet to return.
But they said the national grid collapsed again.
I heard so. Why would the national grid be collapsing? That's what I'm saying. It's like people who collect money in a particular state for vehicle inspection. But the roads in that state are not good. If you can inspect vehicles to be sure that they are okay, you must ensure that your roads are okay too. It's the same thing that we should have with NEPA. Or they said whatever name they are called now, the discos. But what they are doing is against the interests of the country. Do you know that the high cost of goods and services that we have in Nigeria today is caused mainly by lack of power and the high cost of diesel? If you are into manufacturing and there is no light, despite the so-called reduction in the price of diesel still goes for between 1,450 and 1,400 naira per liter. And you use that to produce whatever you are selling or whatever you are manufacturing. You will distribute the costs on what you are selling. You can't run a business at a loss. This is the problem we are having in Nigeria. We keep saying that the price of goods and services are rising. Lack of power adds a lot to it. We are talking of distribution of the country into different bands. If you say band A, that means band A must have light 24 hours. Is that light available?
So the argument that they made was that they said on the days when the light is not up to the minimum of 20 hours, that they make up for the maybe another day, they add the rest of what is not available.
So they will have light for 28 hours or what? It doesn't make sense. When you need light, you need light. When you need light and you don't have it, that is wrong. The problem is that we are still joking with this issue of power in Nigeria. Okay, if you are unable to fulfill your mandate in a day, you make it up the next day. How sensible is that? It is annoying. This is why I'm saying that the man who is in charge seems not to know what he is doing. If you want to distribute areas or the nation into bands, you must have what you want to give to those bands. You don't have power and you are distributing states and houses into bands. Now you can't give them power. It comes back to what I said the other day. You can't give what you don't have. You must have what you want to give. Now they are saying national grid. Do we hear about national grid collapsing in Republic of Benin? Do we hear about national grid collapsing in Chad or in Niger? These are smaller countries. For God's sake, Nigeria is the giant of Africa. We shouldn't be messing around with our energy supply. It is one of the major problems that we have in this country. If you go abroad and you are coming in, you are flying into Lagos, you see darkness all over. I feel very sad. Unlike when you go into other countries and you see light, you are encouraged to go into that country. But in Nigeria, you are flying in at night, you see darkness. Lagos, you won't even know. If it is Lagos that you think you are in the bush. It doesn't speak well for this country. We should do something, and seriously so, about our power supply. All these discos, if they are not performing, disband them, set up another one. I know they won't perform. Since the days Jonathan sold them to his friends and cronies, I knew we were going to get to this level. This government must do something about power supply. It's not about putting people on a band that will not work. The distribution of areas and houses into bands was announced about 3 weeks ago. Still, there is no power to supply to that band. It is all a huge joke. And this is not the time to joke with power supply in Nigeria. We expect a pragmatic solution. Pragmatic solution. The minister there seemed to me a big joker, always finding excuses. The other day he said because people will put on their their refrigerators all day. If in my house I've not had light for 3 days and you brought light, you are saying I should put off my refrigerator that is already stocked with food that could get spoiled if I don't run that freezer. It doesn't make sense. The man seems not to know what he's doing. The earlier the president do something about him, the better. When the head is bad, the entire body will be bad. The entire body will be terrible.
All right. Now, workers under the aegis of the National Union of Electricity Employees, they've asked the federal government to come clean, on the hike and stop being economical with the truth. And they're also threatening that if any of their colleagues is attacked in line of duty over the tariff hike, they will just shut down our power supply nationwide without notice. What's your take?
This is what you get when you have a ragtag leadership in place. It is a result of the bad leadership in our energy sector. I thought we should have an engineer, electrical engineer, as the head of that ministry of power. But the man there, if you are listening to him, you will know that he doesn't know what he's saying. He doesn't know what he's doing. Maybe they put him in the wrong ministry. This is the problem with Nigerians. If you put me in a place that I know I can't perform, I am a journalist, and you take me to Ministry of Power, I will step down. I can't perform there now. I cannot. You see, once you become a minister in Nigeria and you are assigned to a place that you know you can't perform, nobody in the history of Nigeria has come out to say, sir, I can't do this. That's the problem we are having, because everybody wants to get there, enjoy the office to their advantage, and then move on, no matter whether you are offering service or not. It is sad that we have a new fight in that ministry. We need a professional in that ministry. We've been having people. There was a time they put Fashola there, a lawyer. What is he going to do in the Ministry of Power? A lawyer. You see, it's like bringing a doctor in UK to come and head the medical college in Nigeria. The best doctor in the United Kingdom may have not heard of malaria all through his training and practice. So that's what the government is doing here. put a round peg in a round hole. This is the problem with the Ministry of Power. If you look at the Minister of Works, the man is performing. Have you passed through the Lagos, Third Mainland Bridge of late? It was done within a record time. That man visited Third Mainland Bridge more than 4 times before it was completed. That is what some people could not do. I don't want to start mentioning names. Even though they were governor of this state, they couldn't do it. So when you put a round peg in a round hole, you see the difference. So I don't know. I don't want to be too critical of this man, but he is giving the nation a bad image.
All right, let's move ahead and talk about the Oyo invasion. The Nigerian army revealed that the invaders were dressed in foreign military camouflage with berets. What's your take on the invasion?
It is sacrilegious. It is an act that came as a surprise to me. We are in a civilian government and some people want an Oyo republic. Whatever it is that have been done to Kano should be done to them. That's my own submission on this. Because we have a government in place. What has happened is nothing but mutiny. What soldiers call coup d'etat, attempting to remove a sitting government from power. And they wanted to start it from Oyo State. So if they had succeeded in Oyo State, they would go to Osun, probably, come to Ogun State, come to Oyo State, and attempt it in Lagos. We need everybody to come together and ensure that we have a united country. However, if there are people who are not willing to stay in Nigeria, there are procedures for all this. Not by carrying guns and becoming violent in the process. It doesn't make sense. Those people should be tried in the court of law, and appropriate discipline should be given out to all of them. How can you dress in military camouflage? You are not coming in peace. You have come to fight. It's mutiny. And the lady behind it should be arrested too. She mentioned Modupe Onitiri Abiola. She should be arrested. Why would a woman lead an act to remove a sitting government? Whoever she is, those who are behind her should all be arrested and tried in a court of law.
All right, what's your take on Iran's strike on Israel, and how do you think this attack could, destabilize the Middle East?
From what I read, that action was Iran's reaction to the attack on their embassy in Damascus. But to me, it doesn't make sense. We all have been looking forward to solving the problem in that part of the world. We've had the Gaza issue, and we were all thinking that there will be some compromises from both parties. And now the Iran attack came over the weekend. It is actually not needed at this time. Like I said, we should be looking for a solution to the problem in that part of the world. A lot of lives have been lost. A lot of people have been rendered homeless. A lot of women have been turned to widows. A lot of men have been turned to widows. A lot of children have been turned to fatherless and motherless children. Let us sit together. Let the world come together. Let the world leaders come together and find a solution to the problems in that area. And countries should be tolerant. If your embassy was attacked, must you attack the entire country? Those who didn't know about what happened are now being killed in these attacks. We should embrace peace. Iran used to be part of what was known as the Middle East in those days. But then, whatever it is that is causing all these issues should be resolved at the negotiating table. We must not resort to war at the nip of the finger, because a lot of lives goes with it.
There are speculations that oil prices might eventually go up, as a result of this attack. What do you think about it?
You said speculations. We don't pray that it will, because we have the biggest oil producers in the Middle East. Nigeria is also an oil producer. We've not been able to meet our quota. We hope and hope very soon that we will shore up our oil prospecting activities and meet our quota. I don't want to believe that it will get to a level where the oil price will go up again, because once it does, it affects the entire world. So I pray that it won't get to that level. You said speculation. I want it to remain so.
All right, so let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. And Mr. is speaking this one. He says, "What do I do now? My mother needs 50,000 naira, and you want the same amount, but I only have 52,000 naira. I'm between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea." And Mrs. replies and says, "Just like how Moses' rod, point the money in my direction and let the Red Sea make way."
Does Mr. have any choice? He has to satisfy the woman in the house first. If I were him, that's what I would do.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ali Mohammed, CEO of Magnet Communications, also former editor of Daily Times and Concord Newspaper. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
Most welcome.
Also, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. To find out today's stories, go to our website www.vanguardangel.com to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi. Thank you.